The World Savings Banks Institute works together with 10 banks in developing countries to double the number of sustainable and affordable savings accounts for the poor and reach 10 million new customers. The World Savings Banks Institute selected 10 of its member banks to participate in the program. Each one exercises broad geographical outreach in its country and has a strong tradition of working with disadvantaged populations. Being able to rely on a safe place where they can save money is important for everybody. This is particularly important for those who have a small amount of money. Setting aside small sums safely allows people to build assets, establish financial security, invest in education, manage unexpected events, and provide opportunities for the next generation. Are the poor ready to save? The poor have always saved, but when they do it, they rely on peculiar savings methods. The poor often keep cash at home. They often buy valuable goods such as livestock. When they're short of cash, they resell the goods that they had bought. In this process of buying and selling, and in the rush to convert to cash, the poor are frequently forced to sell their goods for a much lower price than they had previously paid. However, these informal ways of saving present certain risks. Risk of loss and theft increase when one keeps cash at home. Livestock might die, wiping out all the savings of the household. The challenge is thus to find a safe place to store money in an affordable and accessible way. The poor do not expect savings accounts to be free of charge. They're willing to pay to get a safe place to keep their money. To make savings products sustainable for both banks and customers, a balance needs to be achieved between an affordable price for the client and a reasonable profit margin for the bank. Banks working on the Doubling Savings Accounts program are carefully designing products and processes to reduce costs and focus on customer needs. In developing countries, 64% of households do not have access to formal financial services. Cities or towns in the developing world are often banked, but the poor mostly live in unserved rural areas. Here, the low population density makes a traditional bank branch unsustainable, due to the high costs to be covered compared to the number of clients and transactions. For people living in these areas, the only way to rely on formal financial services is to walk miles, or to buy a bus ticket to reach a bank in the closest town. This is why so many people in rural areas still rely on informal ways of saving. Increasing a bank's proximity to the unbanked is a fundamental challenge. Banks taking part in the Doubling Savings Accounts program are working on alternative delivery channels to provide access to financial services to poor people living in remote areas and earning low and irregular incomes. Where the density of the population makes it sustainable, financial services are provided by kiosks or mini-kiosks. These can be installed in marketplaces. Kiosks have lower costs than a traditional bank branch. Vans, motorcycles and other forms of mobile bank branches can reach customers living in low-populated areas in an efficient way and provide them with financial services at low cost. For example, in Burkina Faso, SONAPOST is planning to reach local households in rural areas by strengthening the already existent network of courier cyclists. These motorbike or bicycle drivers will provide households with financial services on behalf of the bank. They travel in rural areas from one household to another, collecting the savings of several households and depositing the money at the closest bank branch. Another way to achieve proximity with rural customers without compromising sustainability is to establish partnerships with local retailers. These can be post offices, but also local stores, supermarkets or pharmacies. To reach people living in rural areas in Kenya, the Kenya Post Office Savings Bank is implementing a network based on local shops that provide financial services to customers in underserved rural areas on behalf of the bank. This is in the interest both of the bank, because of lower set-up costs, and of the shop owner, because of the fee income generated by the sale of financial products and services. Other partners of choice are mobile phone technology providers that offer money transfer services. Just as mobile phone users can buy credit to make calls, they can also buy credit to make payments for goods and services, or, more often, to transfer money to other users. This technology is particularly used in developing countries, where people have no access to banks but do have access to mobile phones. Customers need to know that products the bank offers are safe, simple and affordable. Traditional bank marketing is inappropriate. In developing countries, marketing is typically based on TV spots or flyers. But local realities require a different approach that takes into account target market literacy levels, electricity access, living conditions, and habits. Banks working on the program are currently improving their marketing language, tailoring it to the type of customer. Banks start talking the language of the poor. In Burkina Faso, travelling theatre troupes are being employed by SONAPOST, the Burkinan National Post, to perform educational sketches on safe savings and to disseminate SONAPOST savings services information to a wide rural audience. The project's focuses have shifted from finding out what keeps the poor from accessing banks to promoting what savings banks can actually do for the poor. Therefore, much of the responsibility for doubling the number of savings accounts among the world's poor rides on the performance of the people who are going to serve the new customers or help make that service happen. Bank staff must not only assume a more active role, they must become the marketeers of first, not last resort. With the right training, bank staff can become the most effective channel for promoting an evolving service. The cost of doing this is sobering. In both Kenya and Tanzania, the soft investment in staff and retailer training and marketing is greater than IT systems and equipment. The Doubling Savings Accounts program was launched in 2009. Banks involved in the program will receive support from WSBI through until the end of 2014. 10 million poor in developing countries will then be able to save safely small amounts of money, establish financial security, manage unexpected events, and provide opportunities for the next generation.